You're 13, and the court decides that you're suitable long before anyone thinks to explain what that means. Selection does not arrive as a declaration or a ceremony, but as etiquette, polite and indirect. A messenger bows. A clerk records your height, your teeth, how readily you stay silent when spoken around. Your family hears opportunity and relief woven together. You hear instructions framed as kindness. Everyone agrees this is fortunate, which removes the inconvenience of discussion. Training begins quietly and continues without urgency. You're taught how to kneel so your weight does not shift, how to pour without drawing attention to your hands, how to listen without allowing your face to respond. Speech is refined until it serves a purpose and nothing else. You learn which corridors echo and which absorb sound, which rooms forgive pauses and which remember them. Nobody speaks of violence. Instead, they talk about harmony, about timing, about how embarrassing accidents can be when they interrupt order. One senior woman remarks lightly that accidents are tragic unless they solve something, in which case they become paperwork. You laugh because laughter is expected, and because not laughing would be noticed. Daily life teaches hierarchy more effectively than lessons ever could. Meals, clothing, ink, all reinforce position. Names appear in records and then stop appearing. When you ask where they go, you're told they're promoted elsewhere, which explains nothing and answers everything. At night, candles are counted, doors are checked, and patience is practiced. You begin to understand the court's quiet miracle, coincidence dressed as destiny. If something goes wrong, you apologize. If something goes right, you disappear. You're 15, and proximity becomes the curriculum. Nobody teaches you how to strike. They teach you how to arrive, where to stand so you're noticed but not questioned, when to speak so your words feel like someone else's idea. A tutor explains that influence is lighter than force, and therefore travels farther. She adds, smiling, that light things are harder to trace. You learn the calendar's private meanings. Certain days welcome gifts. Certain days invite delays. Certain days are excellent for nothing happening at all. You're taught to prepare tea that tastes identical every time, which is harder than it sounds, and more important than it seems. A joke circulates among the women that poison is vulgar. Timing is elegant. You write that down. Intimacy is introduced as choreography, not romance. Sleeves arranged, eyes lowered, breathing steady. The rules are precise because mistakes cause attention, and attention causes memory. Memory is dangerous. A clerk once asks why you take so long crossing a corridor. You say you were taught to walk with care. He nods and writes faster. Lesson received. By now you understand the court's humor. It congratulates itself for restraint while moving people like furniture. It praises mercy by choosing silence. When someone falls ill after a banquet, you hear a laugh behind a screen. Seasonal, someone says. You learn the punchline. The season is always convenient. You're 17 and the title arrives the way the weather does, announced after it has already started. Someone adjusts where you sit. Someone else corrects how you're introduced. You're now a consort, which sounds like elevation and behaves like access. Doors open sooner. Eyes linger longer. Smiles last exactly as long as they need to. A clerk jokes that congratulations are in order. He does not specify for what. Life rearranges itself around your availability. Lessons continue, but now they're framed as refinements. How to keep a face neutral while being observed. How to listen without agreeing. How to leave a room without taking anything with you, especially impressions. A senior attendant tells you that intimacy is simply another corridor. You learn the route, you'll learn which turns are watched. There are rules nobody writes down. Never ask why you're summoned. Never stay longer than requested. Never be memorable unless memory is required. The court's favorite joke circulates again, delivered dry. If you're remembered, you were inefficient. Laughter follows. You file it away. At banquets, you notice how power eats lightly and drinks slowly. You notice who coughs. You notice who leaves early. Your work is still called service. Your reward is trust, which means you're left alone with more things. You understand the promotion. Access has increased. So has the list of accidents that would be inconvenient if explained. You're 19, and your first assignment is presented as an inconvenience everyone would like to resolve politely. A senior official explains that someone's health has become unreliable. He uses the word unfortunate 3 times, as if repetition might improve outcomes. You're told to help maintain routine. Routine, you learn, is how endings are dressed to look accidental. Nothing dramatic happens. That's the point. You adjust a schedule so a meal is eaten late. You suggest a bath after exertion. You replace one jar with another identical jar that's been sitting longer than recommended. A woman passing by mutters that storage is a gamble. You agree. When the illness arrives, it arrives gently. The room fills with concern. Then, paperwork. A physician announces possibilities. A monk offers prayers. A clerk writes natural causes before anyone asks. You're praised for your composure. Someone says you have a calming presence. You wonder how many deaths that phrase has survived. Later, alone, you're offered tea and congratulations. Not for killing, but for discretion. The difference matters here. The tutor reminds you that success is measured by the absence of discussion. You laugh at the idea of success being quiet. She laughs too, which feels like approval and warning combined. That night, you sleep easily. This surprises you. You decide not to investigate why. The court prefers employees who do not reflect too deeply. Reflection causes hesitation. Hesitation causes errors. And errors cause attention. You are learning the hierarchy of sins, and murder, oddly enough, ranks lower than making things awkward. You're 21 and the work stops feeling like work because it has been folded into routine.